Before Codemaster's Dirt series rose to the prominence it has today, the Colin McRae rally games were a go-to in the late 90s and early 2000s. But in this episode of Delisted, I don't want to talk about any of those older games. No, I want to talk about the last Colin McRae game made to date. I'm talking about Colin McRae Rally 2013. Now buckle up and hang on, because when in doubt, go flat out. Here we go! Developed and published by Codemasters, Colin McRae Rally is the 9th installment in the Colin McRae series. The game originally released on iOS in June of 2013, and then was ported over to Android and Windows PC in 2014. The title marked Codemasters' debut in developing a mobile game internally. The development team chose to use Colin McRae Rally 2.0 as the foundation for the game. The tracks, driving model, cars, and some of the sound assets were all reused from the older title, but with graphics enhanced to help bring the game up to date on modern devices. Compared to the positive reception to previous games in the series, reception towards this 2013 game release was mixed, to say the least. The primary criticism among professional reviewers was basically the lack of content. However, the attempt to replicate the driving experience of the classic Colin McRae Rally games was complimented. Critics generally believed that the level of difficulty and realistic driving model would appease the rally fans and the more experienced players, but may deter beginner players that may not get attached to the game. Upon release, the PC version of the game, which again was ported from iOS, was very negatively received by the players. It was a mobile port. It was a mobile port straight to the computer. It's not a good look either way. Any way you slice it or dice it, it's gonna look bad. Unfortunately, I'm not sure when exactly this game was removed from digital storefronts, but my best guess is late 2016 to early 2017. But now it's time to track this game back down. Let's begin the hunt. So, looking at this game's compatibility list, I needed to locate the iOS version of the game, the Android version of the game, as well as the ported computer version of the game. So I started looking for the Android game files first. Now I would need to locate two file types to get the game working on Android: the APK file and the OBB file. The OBB file containing all the data, so all the tracks, the cars, the sound assets, all that stuff is in the OBB file. And the APK file, which acts as kind of a zip file. It bundles all this stuff up into one neat package that will play on your device. And after a few dead links and broken files later, I found what I needed to get the Android version up and running. And after probably the longest boot up in history, I played one rally stage just to confirm everything was functioning properly. Next up was the PC version of the game. Now when it comes to computer game files, there's a lot more websites and download options available, and therefore a lot better odds of finding what I needed. And it wasn't long until I found a torrent download that worked. And while I don't like using torrents because of all the controversy around them and in the gaming industry and pirating and all that, but when it comes to a delisted game, you kind of just have to take what you can. 2 down, 1 to go. I saved the iOS game for last because I knew this was going to be probably the hardest one to find. The only plus side to the iOS side is that you only need one file type to install, an IPA file. But just because you have one file type to find, it doesn't make it any easier to locate. And after checking some usual suspects like the Internet Archive, some discussion forums, and even on YouTube, it wasn't until I checked iPhone Cake and dug through the many dead links on that website that I found one that was working. And after playing Colin McRae on all three of these platforms, I personally think the game is actually really good. While I see why the PC version of the game was removed from Steam, with all the negativity around it, the handling model feels good on all three platforms. The tracks are fairly challenging, and honestly, I don't have too much to complain about other than the small car list. But that's probably just me. Anyway, let's move on over to the installation tutorial, so you all can download and play this game yourself. Alright, it is now time to move on to the tutorial section of the video. So we're going to start with the PC version, okay? Link in the description will take you to this webpage right here, hisgames.org. Unfortunately, it is a torrent download right here. So yeah, unfortunately it is a torrent download, and while I try to steer clear of them, this case we'll just have to deal with it. But it's not this one, it's the top one here. Okay, if you click on that, it will download. You gotta torrent real quickly here. Cancel that. Okay, because that's some fake crap. This would be the one right here. Now for me, I downloaded it on my phone, which has a torrent downloader on it. Obviously, this only downloads the file. On my phone, at least, I have WeTorrent. From there, I would download the file. So you do need a torrent downloader. I'll have a list of them in the description down below. Or again, like you could do what I do, you could download the file externally, say on this phone, and then move it to your PC like I'm about to. Okay, well, okay, now I've got to move it over. But once it does, I'll show you how to set this up. It's pretty simple. It does work with controllers. For me personally, once I get a game on the computer, I usually move it into Steam, since Steam is really great about automatically adding controller setups and all that. So you have all this stuff here, you got your Redist, you got all this stuff, data auto run. There's an icon, which is literally, I think, just a picture. Yeah, it's literally just the picture. That's serves no purpose. So this bottom right here, the bottom button, setup exe, that's the button you want to click. So we're going to right click it, hit run as administrator. Yes. Okay, now we're to the setup process or installation. Okay. Click next. Here's where you'll get to choose where you want to put it. In this case, I suppose we'll leave it where it is. It's just under a gigabyte, 0.83 gigabytes, so it's 830 megabytes. Next. Oh, if you want to start menu, we won't do that. We won't do desktop shortcut. We won't do Rex. We won't do any of this. Uncheck all this stuff. Then install. And it begins unpacking and installing the game. So, obviously, I've already done this. I'm just doing this for the sake of the tutorial. But everything, I mean, that was fast. Click finish. And we'll see. If it doesn't pop up immediately, we'll have to go find it then, and we'll have to boot it that way, which I may do right now. Okay, here is the file, since by finishing the install, it didn't actually boot up. So, here's this. Once you're finished installing, this is what you'll have. Okay, you'll have all of your data file, you'll have an exe, another .ico file, or the icon file, I don't know what. Launcher exe, we don't want that though. There's INIs, a couple DLLs, all that stuff. What you're looking for is this one right here. Okay, we'll right click it. Again, run as administrator. You always want to run as administrator whenever possible. What should come up next is configuration setup. So with your graphics and your inputs, this is where you could put in a controller. Again, if you don't have Steam and you don't want to go through the process of setting up Steam, this should work. You'll double click each entry, and then you will make a let's say right or left on the menus. You'll probably use your D-pad, so you double click it and then hit the button on your controller for how you want to do that. Graphics goes all the way up. We'll leave it at 720 and windowed. Leave it on high graphics, and basically you just hit play. And bingo, I mean, flawlessly. Without fail. Okay, well, I somehow forgot there was an iOS version of this game to install. So let's get that out of the way real quick. Link in the description as always. Unfortunately, I could not find the original download links. You're gonna have to, so I had to make a Google Drive with the file. So you'll basically just click download and then download anyway. That'll automatically download it. And once you've got it downloaded, you'll want to bring up Sideloadly. Now, if you don't have Sideloadly, link again will be in the description. That way you can download it yourself and get it all set up, because you do need a legitimate iTunes account to do so. But once you've got it all set up and you've got both your 32-bit iOS device and the computer that you're using, both of them are online and connected to the same internet, you can begin this process. Once you've got everything set up, again, you're looking for that IPA logo, click it, and go looking for your file. Once you've got it on there, all you have to do is pretty much hit the start button, and it will begin to, I don't want to say install it, but it will begin transferring it over to your device. Now, installing this from Sideloadly to your device, it only works for 7 days. So if you're trying to 100% complete the game, you have only a week to do so until the app doesn't work, and you'll have to restart this process. Just an unfortunate side effect of games being delisted and Apple being oh so stringent with every conceivable rule known to man. And there it is. So now, I think it'll work. If I just tapped it right now, it would work. But in case it doesn't, and it says it's an untrusted developer, all you have to do is go to Settings, go General, go all the way to the bottom, Device Management, Developer App, and then right here, you would hit Trust App. Of course, it already has. I don't need to do that. But chances are, if this is your first app that you've ever downloaded onto an Apple device, that would be something that you'd want to do. And I think that'll do it. So, okay, so future me is now done interrupting this video. Let's send it back to the original installation tutorial, and let's see how to install the Android version. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is the Android version of the game. Again, link will be in the description. Take you right to this bad boy website right here. Basically, you can hit the download button, but really it just takes you down, scrolling down to this spot right here. You have 3 options. 2 of them are APKs. One of them is a basic APK, and the other is a modified APK. It says unlocked. Basically, that just means that everything in the game should be unlocked. It's the same as 100% save game. And the bottom one here, the very bottom one in a different color, is the zip file which has all the data. So you can pick whichever APK you want. I would say just get the base APK, because I don't know if I really trust the mod APKs on this website. But you have to get the zip file. Regardless of whichever APK you pick, you have to get a zip file for the data. So you have to download both of those. So if you click one, it takes you to this basically extended page. You have a little countdown timer. And when that's done, you will have the download option. So hit that, and the download starts. No issues there. Same for the zip file. Obviously, once you have those downloaded, you're going to need an emulator. Well, a phone or an emulator. In this case, I'm going to show you how to do it from an emulator, since we'll just stay on the computer and keep it simplistic. Okay, so for this example, we're going to use BlueStacks. I believe I'm running on the newest one there is BlueStacks 5. Base BlueStacks, okay? The one thing you're going to need, regardless of the emulator or the phone you use, you need to download this app right here, ZAchiever, okay? Really, really solid app. While every phone and app comes with a file manager, I don't know why, ZAchiever just works, okay? ZAchiever is just a lot better. If you know how to work a file manager app, then maybe you don't need ZAchiever specifically. I just like to use it. It's just more simplistic for these tutorials. Anyway, once you've downloaded both that APK and the zip file, you're going to head on over, in this case, to BlueStacks. System Apps, Media Manager. Now, if you're on your phone and you've already downloaded the zip file on your phone, you don't have to do this, but this is basically to get this file from the computer to the emulator. So import from Windows and the zip file. Open. And if I've done things correctly, it should start importing it into the computer. Okay, so now it's done. To open it, it's going to immediately send us to ZAchiever, okay? Now it's put us inside of the file. So let's go back, this back arrow up here. That gives us the actual file. So let's hit the check mark up here, then click it, and then the check mark down here. My face might be in the way, not sure. Okay, now we have this, the lots of dots, and extract. And we'll just hit this button here. We'll just extract it where it is. Or would it download? No, let's extract it and download because that's an easier folder to find. Okay, that's done. You do not need this URL file, so we'll just delete that. We don't need that. This is your data file, okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to copy device memory, Android, OBB, and then paste. Now whether you're using Nox or BlueStacks, you should have a whole big menu here on the side. You're just looking for the Install APK button. We'll click that and install the APK. Okay, and there we go. Installing the app should automatically combine it with the data file we just installed. And let's see if it worked. Loading. Bingo! I say bingo. This app is not recommended for your device. You may experience performance issues during play. I haven't, but obviously that could be a problem. But as you can see, it looks identical to the computer version, basically just slightly worse graphics. And no quit button, but that's cool. Yeah, everything works as intended. So, okay, for some reason the audio cut out there at the end. So basically that concludes the tutorials for both the PC and the Android version of the games. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comment section. I'll try to have every single download link that you will need for either the downloads or some other programs in the description down below. So yeah, that is going to do it for the tutorial section of the video. I'll send it on over to the next segment where I'll give you some final thoughts and some gameplay. Given this was Codemasters' first step into mobile gaming, I feel like it makes sense that they would borrow assets from a much older title of theirs and just help that development process and get in that groove of mobile game development. Of course, nearly 10 years later, Codemasters has gone on to release and help release many other mobile games. Most recently, as of the recording this video, is Racing Master, a game that is just visually stunning. It looks incredible, especially for a mobile game. And it shows a lot of promise. It hasn't been released yet, but it shows a lot of promise. But Codemasters' biggest mistake with Colin McRae Rally was porting this game straight to PC, with the only difference being those small graphic improvements. But if you play Colin McRae Rally on mobile as it was originally intended, It feels, sounds, and behaves just like a rally game should. I highly recommend at least giving this game a try. But anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode. I'll leave you all with some gameplay. If you're enjoying this series, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really does help this channel out a lot. If this is the first delisted episode you've seen, there's already a handful of episodes uploaded already on YouTube. And if you're wondering what game I'm going to cover in the next episode of Delisted, stick around till after the gameplay for a sneak peek. But until next time, keep on gaming, everybody.
54 left, into 3 left. 50 crest, into 3 right. Into 5 left, and jump, and 5 right. Into 3 left, opens, over crest. 100 turn, 4 right, onto tarmac. 1. 200 turn, 3 left, onto gravel. 74 left. 34 right, over crest. 55 right. 34 left, over jump. 30 long, 3 right, over crest. 70 jump maybe. 50 long, 4 right. 30 jump maybe. 53 right. 30 long, 4 left. Okay.
On the next episode of Delisted. Have you ever played a game where you race rocket-powered sleds and the only way to turn is if you use a grappling hook around a giant pillar on ice-covered tracks? Yeah, I didn't think so. You see, in the racing game genre, the only way to stand out is if you think way outside of the box and come up with something extremely unique and different. And now, over 10 years later, it's time to bring this almost completely forgotten winter racer back from the delisted grave. Here we go!